morning. I'm Councillor Diane Donaldson. I'll be chairing this hearing of Subcommittee B of the Licensing and Public Protection Committee of Birmingham City Council. Before we start, can you all please mute your microphones for the moment in order to improve the sound quality whilst I outline the procedure. Can you also please turn off your cameras with the exception of committee members unless you're the person speaking. This is to reduce bandwidth. Committee members will have their cameras switched on throughout the hearing. Could everyone attending today's meeting please put their mobile phones on silent and ensure that they are situated in a room or environment which is free from distractions or any unnecessary noise emanating from radios, TVs, etc. Thank you for that. I'm speaking slowly and clearly so everyone can follow. It is vitally important, for I hope are obvious reasons, that those attending the meeting and making representations are able to hear me and members of my subcommittee and officers. Any distractions brought to my attention could result in the meeting being suspended temporarily or to another date and time under the regulations for these types of meetings. I also confirm that this is a public meeting and therefore being live streamed on the City Council's website in order that the general public can view it. I advise that this meeting or webcast will live or subsequent broadcast via the Council's meeting YouTube site, the link which can be found in the agenda, and that the press public may record and take photographs except where there are confidential or exempt items. Members are reminded that they must declare all relevant pecuniary and other registrable interests arising from any business to be discussed at this meeting. If a disclosable pecuniary interest is declared, a member must not participate in any discussion or vote on that matter and must not remain in the room unless they have been granted a dispensation. If other registrable interests are declared, a member may speak on the matter only if members of the public are allowed to speak at the meeting, but otherwise must not take part in any discussion or vote on the matter and must not remain in the room unless they have been granted a dispensation. If it is a sensitive interest, members do not have to disclose the nature of the interest, just that they have an interest. Information on the Local Government Association Model Councillor Code of Conduct is set out via a link that can be found in the agenda. This includes an Appendix 1, an interest flow chart, which provides a simple guide to declaring interests at meetings. I confirm no apologies were submitted for today's meeting, and I ask that members, if you could note the minutes of the public part of the meeting held on the 24th of January 2023 at 10:00 hours, and confirm and sign the minutes as a whole. Is that agreed?
Agreed.
Sure.
Thank you. Also, the minutes of the meeting held on the 24th of January 2023 at 12:00 hours. Can we confirm and agree those as a whole?
Agreed.
Thank you. Sorry, Councillor Mia, I didn't.
Agreed, Chair.
Thank you. And can we also note the public part of the minutes of the meeting held on the 31st of January 2023 at 10:00 hours, confirm and sign the minutes as a whole?
Agreed.
Agreed, Chair.
Thank you. Can I welcome you to this hearing for an application in respect of Morrison Store and Petrol Filling Station, 280 Coventry Road, Borsley Green, Birmingham, B10 OXA. I'll begin with some introductions. My name is Councillor Diane Donaldson and I'm chairing this meeting of the Licensing Subcommittee. With me are the other members of the subcommittee, Councillor Sadat Mia and Councillor Adam Higgs. Also present in the meeting are the following officers. Licensing Officer David Kennedy, good morning.
Good morning, Chair.
Committee Manager Katie Townsend, good morning.
Good morning, Chair.
And Committee Lawyer Joanne Swampillai, good morning.
Good morning, Chair.
Could I now ask all parties to identify themselves, please? Firstly, the applicant, Richard Taylor from Gosharts LBP.
Morning, members of the committee. My name is Richard Taylor. I'm a solicitor for Morrison's. I have with me Lee Barker, who is the store's operation manager.
Good morning. Good morning to both of you. Is the DPS in attendance as well?
Sorry, the DPS isn't in attendance. We were advised yesterday that the DPS has handed his notice in, hence we've just changed. It was originally to be the DPS. We've just changed to Lee Farker. It seems to be daft to have a new person who doesn't know the store here. So we've got Lee, who's been at the store for a couple of years, just in case you have any questions of him.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. And next to those making representations, Dunia Hamarai.
Chair, sorry.
Go on,
Katie.
Sorry, Chair. The applicant has, the objectors hasn't confirmed their attendance in accordance with Regulation 8 of the hearing regulations, so we don't expect their attendance here today, but we do need to obviously consider their written representations. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, David. Could I now ask if any persons making representations wishes to withdraw their representations at this stage of the hearing? Because there's nobody present. I assume that's a no. I will also assume that all parties have read and understand the Licensing Committee's procedural rules sent out with the notice of today's hearing. Please note that given the nature of today's proceedings, I may at my discretion amend the procedural rules to reflect the fact that this meeting is taking place online, but wish to assure you all that any such amendments will not impact on the parties' right to a fair hearing. We'll be using the chat function in Microsoft Teams to communicate. One of the icons on your toolbar is a speech bubble. Click the speech bubble to go into chat. If you do not have access to the chat function for any reason, please use the raise a hand function to indicate you wish to speak. The button is usually fourth from the right on the toolbar. You can also, of course, indicate verbally that you wish to speak at the appropriate time. Can you all confirm that you have access to the chat function by typing your own name now? Officers will also type their job title. The meeting will not proceed until you all have done so.
That's everyone, Chair.
Thank you, Katie. Please keep this chat column open for the entire duration of the meeting in order that everyone can follow the messages being posted in the chat. If any participant has dialed in on an audio telephone rather than Microsoft Teams, please speak now to confirm that you can hear and be heard. I don't believe we have anyone dialing in today. With the exception of the subcommittee members, please keep your camera off unless you're the person speaking. If there are any problems with bandwidth, which causes difficulty with the sound, I may, in my discretion, ask everyone to turn their cameras off in order that the meeting can proceed with everyone able to hear and be heard. Does anyone wish to make any preliminary points at this stage? If so, please indicate that you wish to raise a point by typing speak into the chat function or using the raise a hand function now. Thank you. Now I'll briefly outline the procedure that we're following at today's hearing. Firstly, the licensing officer, David Kennedy, will present the report. Then the applicant will be asked to present their case. We're asking if this could be kept to approximately 20 minutes. Next, those making representations will be invited to present their case. We're asking if this can be kept to approximately 20 minutes. And ask all parties to speak as slowly and as clearly as they possibly can, because the officers are taking notes by hand for the minutes, and the meeting is also being live streamed on the City Council's website. If at any time it's somebody else's turn to speak, please mute your microphone and use the chat function to communicate if necessary. Please note that members of the subcommittee will be able to ask questions at any stage, but will try to do so at the conclusion of each presentation. Cross-examination by the applicant and those making representations will not be permitted unless the members consider it appropriate. Where questions are raised by members of the subcommittee or those present, they must signify this using the chat facility set out on the right-hand side of the screen you're viewing this meeting on. The meeting manager will alert me if I do not notice messages in the chat. I will determine verbally or in writing on the chat facility the order in which questions are dealt with. So at any point in the meeting, if you wish to speak, please type the word speak into the chat function, and the meeting manager will ensure that we come to you at the appropriate moment. If at any point you cannot hear or having problems with your internet connection, please use the chat facility to alert the meeting manager. The chair will then ask the person speaking to repeat what they've just said. It is therefore important that you use the chat function as soon as you're unable to hear the person speaking. It may well be that the problem is caused by people still having their microphones or cameras on, which creates interference. So we remind everyone to please mute your microphones and turn off your cameras when you're not the person speaking. Could I point out that occasionally it may be necessary for the subcommittee to take legal advice. At my discretion, I may ask all parties to wait in this meeting while members and the relevant officers withdraw to take legal advice using a separate meeting within Microsoft Teams. We will then return to the meeting and continue. Please note, if at any time the live stream being broadcast on the City Council's website fails, I will ask you all to mute your microphones and cameras and to stop speaking until the live stream is restored. If at any time this meeting goes into private session, the meeting manager will pause the live stream. Once the private part of the meeting is over, I will ask the meeting manager to confirm that the live stream has resumed before we continue. At the conclusion of the hearing, I will invite all parties to make a brief closing submission. Can I stress that no decision will be taken until all the evidence has been heard? At the decision-making stage, the members and the relevant officers withdraw from this meeting in order to determine the decision. They will go into a separate Microsoft Teams meeting. In the event that members need to clarify any point, you will be telephoned by the meeting manager. The members will then make their decision. You'll be notified of the decision of the subcommittee within 5 working days. I hope that's reasonably straightforward. So with that, can I ask Licensing Officer David Kennedy to present the report, please, as slowly and clearly as you can, please.
Thank you, Chair. WM Morrison Supermarkets Limited applied on the 23rd of November for the grant of a premises licence for Morrison's store and petrol filling station, 280 Coventry Road, Borsley Green, Birmingham, B10 OXA. The purpose of the report is to consider a representation that has been made in respect of the application, which seeks to permit the sale of alcohol for consumption off the premises to operate 24 hours a day, Monday to Sunday. It also seeks the provision of late night refreshment, being the sale of hot food and drinks, to operate from 11 p.m. until 5 a.m. Monday to Sunday, with the premises to remain open to the public 24 hours Monday to Sunday. It should be noted that WM Morrison Supermarkets Limited currently have a premises licence in force for the main supermarket building, being premises licence number 1981, which permits the sale of alcohol for consumption off the premises to operate 24 hours a day, Monday to Sunday, and the provision of late night refreshment to operate from 11 p.m. till 5 a.m. Monday to Sunday. A representation has been received from other persons, which is attached to Appendix 1. The application is at Appendix 2 and site location plans are at Appendix 3. The applicant has submitted supporting documents in the form of 2 emails, which are published at pages 59 and 60 of the agenda pack. When carrying out its licensing functions, a licensing authority must have regard to Birmingham City Council's Statement of Licensing Policy and the guidance issued by the Secretary of State under Section 182 of the Act. The authority is required to take such steps as are considered appropriate to promote the 4 licensing objectives. The options available to the committee today are to grant the licence in accordance with the application, to reject the application, to grant the licence subject to conditions modified to such an extent as considered appropriate, exclude from the licence any of the licensable activities to which the application relates, refuse to specify a person in the licence as the premises supervisor. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, David. And would the applicant like to make their presentation now, please? Richard Taylor.
Chair, good morning. Members of the committee, good morning. Very grateful to David because he's basically outlined that probably far better than I can do. And you can rest assured that if I speak for 20 minutes, I will have told you everything that I need to tell you more than 5 or 6 times. This is going to take no more than 5, I would have thought. So David's absolutely right. This is an application for a new license, and it's in identical terms to the existing license. So the hours are the same, the conditions are the same. The only difference is the plan and the effect of the application, if it's granted, would be to allow alcohol to be sold from the petrol filling station as well as from the store. The store itself trades with no problem at all. The conditions that we've offered are the same conditions. The hours are the same hours. So it's basically, can we extend the licensed area to include the petrol filling station? And what I'll do, members of the committee, if that's all right, is I'll concentrate on the petrol filling station because that's the only new bit as far as this application is concerned. So looking at the petrol filling station itself, it already has full digital CCTV. There's a condition on the license already that requires that the premises be covered by CCTV. It is. That's images are retained for 28 days, and the system is of an acceptable standard to West Midlands Police. As far as the petrol filling station is concerned, the counter is already screened. There are panic buttons, as there are in every Morrison's petrol filling station, with a direct link to the main store. And interestingly, as far as the petrol filling station itself is concerned, all staff whose jobs involve alcohol sales within the petrol filling station will be personal licence holders. As far as single manning is concerned, we never single man a petrol filling station which has alcohol displayed. And this is the 137th of these applications that we've made so far. So it's not an unusual thing. As far as the rest of the site is concerned, of course, All staff have staff training. The store operates Challenge 25. There are till prompts on all age-restricted products. There is an electronic refusals log. There is independent test purchasing. Morrison sends an independent company out to ensure that challenges are made where they should be made. And back in the petrol filling station itself, all spirits, high value stuff will be behind the counter. No single cans of alcohol are sold, and Morrison's doesn't sell the sort of strong white ciders, the sort of things that appeal to those who are engaged in street drinking, things like that. So all of this is existing at the moment, save and except for the fact that there is no alcohol displayed within the petrol filling station, no alcohol that can be sold within the petrol filling station. When we're talking about alcohol, we are talking a very limited display. It's a matter of a bottle of wine, you know, a 4-pack of beers, something like that. There isn't going to be masses of alcohol for sale in there. It just extends that area. It operates as a convenience store. The store itself, as I've said, trades without any problem at all. We are always regularly in contact with the police, and you will have noted as an experience committee, the police don't object to this application, and nor indeed do any of the responsible authorities. So the only objection is from a single local resident, and dealing with the issues raised. He says, it's correct, we've applied for a 24-hour licence, we've already got a 24-hour licence. He's deeply concerned about the negative impact it's had, but of course there's no evidence that the existing 24-hour licence has caused any difficulty whatsoever. The objector may have concerns, but those aren't concerns that are shared by the police or indeed any of the responsible authorities. You'll see at page 60, I emailed the objector really just to outline our position, to say, look, you know, nothing's going to change in real terms. It is a 24-hour licence. The store currently trades until 10 o'clock in the evening. Current store trading hours 7 till 10 and 10 till 4 on a Sunday. The petrol filling station trades an hour longer, 6 till 11 and 8 till 10 on a Sunday. It's not intended that we change the trading hours, but we do have that flexibility that we may use at some stage in the future, run up to Christmas, busy trading times, that sort of thing, just to extend those hours. So there we are. I've taken that as quickly as I could whilst I'm talking quite quietly. If there are any questions about the proposals, then here we are. And I have Lee Farker from the store, who is the operations manager, who's been there for a couple of years. Madam, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Is there anything that Mr. Farker would like to add to that?
Not really, just to confirm what Richard said. The store operates really well with the local police. They've raised no concerns about it when they've been in and spoke to us about it. And in general, we see very low levels of activity with regards to street drinking in the area anyway.
Thank you. And with that, I'll hand over to members for any questions.
No questions, thank you, Chair.
No question, Chair.
And no questions from me, thank you. I don't believe we have the person making representations, but here to make their presentation now. But it has been sent out with the documents, so members will have read that. Is there any questions from members regarding the written submission from the person making representations?
Nothing to add, thanks, Chair.
Nothing to add, Chair.
Thank you. So with that, we'll go to the closing submission from Mr. Taylor, if you may.
Well, thank you, Chair. And again, very, very briefly indeed, you're an experienced committee, you know exactly what we're doing. As far as the Home Office guidance is concerned, that's very clear that decisions should be evidence-based. And that, of course, follows the Thwaites decision that we have. So what is the evidence? Well, the evidence here is that you have a good operator with policies and procedures that ensure that there's no problem. That's all borne out. There is no problem with this store. This is a store about which nobody's complained. No evidence that Morrison's does anything other than sell alcohol wholly responsibly. No objections from the responsible authorities. Nothing at all. There's no evidence at all, is there, that the likely effect of allowing Morrison's to sell that odd bottle of wine alongside other groceries would cause any problems whatsoever. So in all of the circumstances and in the absence of any evidence to the contrary, I'd invite the grant of the licence. But thank you very much indeed. As I say, I've been as quick as I possibly could.
Thank you. If there's anything that Mr. Farquhar would like to add,
No, that's it. Thanks.
thank you. Okay, so with that, I will now ask all parties to leave the Microsoft Teams meeting, and the members, the committee lawyer and the committee manager will go into the private session while the subcommittee makes its decision. You'll be notified of the decision of the subcommittee within 5 working days. Thank you, everyone.